In the last video, we discovered the sudden thing that that they only saw Jesus. It was Jesus only. It was just him, number one. If you notice on my shirt here, I have one. There's only one. It's not Moses. It's not Elijah in that passage. It's no one else. It's not religion. It's not even church, although these are important. It's Jesus Christ. That's the answer to everything. Everything is centered in him. The whole universe, all of time. I mentioned that before. Everything is about Jesus. I love how it said that. And suddenly when they had looked around, it says, they saw no man anymore except Jesus only. Jesus only. I love that. Okay. So the next part of the story, let me put Jesus up here with these guys. We have these three. Remember Peter, James, and John. They started coming down that long track. I don't know that they were at the top of the mountain, but they came down probably Mount Hermon. And as they came down from the mountain, so they're leaving that area, they never forgot that area as long as they lived. Radically changed them, I believe. He charged them that they should tell no one. I like what Matthew says. Matthew 17, I think, is verse 9. Is there? I'm not sure if I wrote what verse. I think it is that. Anyway, he said, you know, the Bible says don't have any television, by the way. It's a joke. But I remember hearing this long ago. It said, tell the vision to no man. Tell the vision to no man. It sounds like television to no man. Television to no one. Cute. Tell the vision. So they saw this vision of Moses and Elijah and all. He said, don't tell anyone about this. And they did. They kept that. It says, he said, he charged them, he commanded them that they should tell no one what things they had seen. That's how Mark put it. Till the Son of Man were risen from the dead. They didn't get that. Until after he was risen from the dead, and then they actually shared it. Okay, so let's discuss that just for a second. Tell no one the vision. Don't tell them anybody about this, what just happened. And so they obeyed Jesus, which is really good. And I would like to encourage you to have sort of a quote-unquote mountain experience. You don't have to go to a mountain to have an experience with Jesus. But they were alone with Jesus. And because of that, Jesus was able to share incredible stuff with them. Now, I'm going to suggest you something I said long before in Mark chapter 4, I think it's verse 34. It says, and when he was alone with his disciples, he expounded all things to them. I love that verse. He explained all things to them. I would encourage you to find Jesus, sort of like find a place in your house, prayer closet Jesus used, closet, literally a closet. I love closets. Been in those before and prayed a lot. And your bedroom or somewhere where you can be alone with Jesus if you can. If you've got a lot of people in your house, maybe you could go to a closet, go to some corner of the room, in one of the rooms, or go to a room where nobody is, or go to even the restroom, close the door if you have to, and just spend time with Jesus. And I can guarantee over time, might happen right away, might not, but over time, if you keep doing that, Jesus Christ will come and share with you. And this is an experience they had, and I want to encourage you to have sort of that same experience. Definitely mountain experiences, and that secrets will be shared. I've had that many, many times where Jesus Christ literally showed me all sorts of stuff that nobody had told me. Secrets are shared, and sometimes he may not even want you to tell anyone at that moment. Sometimes he does want you to speak that which is in the closets, he said, shout from the housetops. But you need to be, you will get secrets shared with you. Jesus Christ will reveal himself to you. The Father will reveal himself to you. And then he trusted them as stewards, and he wants to trust you as stewards. Another stewards is something that you don't really own it, but you're in charge of it. He gives us something for you to manage. Like I'm a steward of God's money. The money that I have is all really God's, and I am to do what he wants me with it. Same thing, what he wants me to do with it. Same thing with the truth that he shares with you. He may share some secrets about people's lives that he doesn't want you to tell about, but just pray for them. He may share some future things that's going to happen that he doesn't want you to say. He may want you to say, but he'll direct you and all that. But be a good steward. He wants to trust you with stuff. And if you're a blabbermouth, sometimes you know he's not going to trust you with his secrets. It's like a friend. Real close friends say things to some people, they're close friends, that they don't tell other people. That's what God is with us. If you go into that quote unquote that mountain, that place where you can go upwards towards God. Okay, and they obeyed Jesus, so you need to obey Jesus and ask him, what do you want me to do with the knowledge you give me? Obey Jesus. Next one is they had a changed outlook about Jesus. They didn't quite get it at all, and we'll find that out in these next verses. And it took really after the resurrection when they started getting things, it dawned on them, aha, moments really happened. But, you know, they definitely had a changed outlook of Jesus because they'll never forget that. And Peter wrote about it, like I said, in his epistle, one of his epistles, his letter. All right, so you have a changed outlook, and God will change your outlook on life and people and everything as you spend time with him. And speaking of time, there's a timing that God gave to these guys. He said, don't tell anyone until after the Son of Man is resurrected. That Son of Man is resurrected is just so challenging to them. I feel for them. They could not get in their mind that the Son of Man is going to be resurrected from the dead. They didn't think he was ever going to die. They thought he was going to come back. That's the end of the world. And they thought this is probably about the end of the time right now. It's imminent right now when Jesus Christ is on that mountain and they saw him light up like a light bulb, human light bulb, and like, wow, this is it. And then he goes off and he says, you know, things like the Son of Man must suffer and all. He says that, which, you know, it'll be a little bit later he says that. It's just, what? He said, don't tell anyone until the Son of Man is going to be risen from the dead. Risen from the dead? What do you mean dead? See, that was really difficult. So I'm going to end there. I could go on into the next segment here. But do I want to say anything else? Yeah, I'm going to do a little bit more. I did forget that I wrote down 5 things on why hush. Why not yet? Okay, why did Jesus say, shh, be quiet? Don't tell everyone yet. Why? 1, they weren't ready for it. These disciples were barely ready for it. These 3 were, I guess the others weren't. He didn't bring everyone up. And they weren't even ready for it, but they were ready enough to experience that so that he could, you know, verify later, you know, after the resurrection, that's me, that's who I was then and now, I really am God here. Well, they weren't ready for it. See, I think the main reason is because everyone was looking for a military leader, you know, that he's going to go in there and he's going to tear up Jack, he's going to destroy Rome. Instead of destroying Rome, they put him to death. Rome put him to death on a cross. They couldn't get that. They had to be re-educated. And so they had a big-time Messiah misunderstanding, which I've talked to you a lot about if you've been watching these videos. The reason he didn't want them to go tell everybody, you know, about this thing, they would go, really, really, seriously? He must be the one. And they'll try and, like John says in the book of John, force him to be king. Like they're going to try and force him to be Messiah. Well, he was Messiah, but they didn't understand what the Messiah's job was, his real mission. They understood part of it. But anyway, Messiah misunderstanding. So number 1, they weren't ready. Number 2, the political military leader thing was what they were probably going to try and make him be Messiah. Misunderstanding, excuse me. Another one was the cross and the resurrection is central to all understanding. That's a side note here that, you know, everything points to the cross and the resurrection. Everything nowadays points backwards to that, and everything in the Old Testament pointed forwards to that. And everything that Jesus was talking to them about, it all was veins of the arteries and all that from the heart of everything. The heart of the gospel is the cross, the death, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. And so for them to be able to understand the transfiguration, to be able to understand the Messiah, it starts there. Everything is wrapped up into that. Every doctrine of the Bible, all the roads, the verses lead to the death and the resurrection of Jesus. So to be able to understand everything, you really need to understand the cross and the resurrection. To understand life, to understand everything in life, everything about this world, it all is wrapped up in the cross and the resurrection of Jesus. Adam's sin put on the cross. Mercy from God and relationship with him through the cross and the resurrection. You know, everything really does get right to that. It's everything. It's a heart of Christianity. It's a heart of God, you know, for him to die and for him to be resurrected. Awesome stuff. And the last thing I would like to say is discipleship training. This last one. And that is to follow him. He said, don't tell this information, what you just saw, the transfiguration. Don't tell about this vision that you just saw. And they had to learn how to be quiet. They had to learn how to follow him in his instructions. And see, everything is based on him. That's what I wrote here. Based on him, not your understanding or your Christian education, or your faithfulness instead of his, etc., etc. See, my discipleship is not based on me. I have to be a partner with it. It's partially mine, but it's really, my discipleship is based on him. His faithfulness is what keeps me. His teaching is what teaches me. His guidance is what guides me. I am totally dependent on him. And he's teaching them to depend on him. Discipleship, following Christ, to be a person who's united with Jesus Christ. These guys had to learn to follow Jesus, as you and I do. Hope you got something out of this video. Hope you got a lot out of it. I did in talking about it. God bless you.